No, but truly, I believe that if I put in the same work ethic that I have right now with a little bit of enhancement, I believe that I could be the next Ronnie Coleman. I'm not just saying that. I believe I could be one of the biggest names in bodybuilding if I choose to do that. With the progress that I have seen and my style of training, diet, and life and consistency, I believe that I can be one of the best to ever do it if I decided to go that route.
I guess that begs the question, what would it take for you to actually take that route?
Boy, here we go.
Yeah.
I gotta put my big boy pants on.
Were you not wearing pants?
I was naked. I was nude. I was nude for a second.
Just from the waist down, though, right?
Yes. No shoes, no socks, just fucking.
Just walking around like Winnie the Pooh all the time, huh?
Hey man, hey dude, I look great. I'm gonna flaunt it. Fuck it.
Yeah. So that. Oh man. So what's up? King Michael Chidozie? How are you this morning, my man?
I'm awesome, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, especially because I got my a good friend of mine on this podcast now. You know, so it's funny.
Are you hallucinating? Because I don't see anybody else here. Are you off your meds? Who's your friend?
My what? Say that again.
Who's your friend?
My friend.
Yeah, who? Who are you talking about?
Well, apparently I thought it was you, but now it's an You know what I mean? Like,
are you off your meds again?
Bro, I wish. Almost, wait. It's kind of like asking, wait, are you on your PEDs again? Are you on that again?
I never got off them.
You never got Oh my God. Hey, yeah. So, hey, Michael. All right. So I got to ask you, bro, if you were to give like a 10-second introduction about yourself, what would it be? How would you say it?
Fuck, dude, that's crazy on the spot. Hey, my name is Michael Chidozie. Fucking, I'm not on drugs. I don't know, dude.
Hi, Mike. Oh my God. I feel like you just introduced yourself like an AA meeting. Like, hi guys, I'm Michael. Hi, Michael. I'm not on PEDs.
I'm not an addict.
I just love injecting PEDs, snorting PEDs, eating PEDs.
This has been a struggle for me not to do it, and it's crazy. But I'm here with you guys, and the sport is great. So hey, guys, this is my story.
Well, let's actually dive into that. Dude, I could just sit here and banter all day, but I guess for the sake of a podcast, we got to talk about something.
I know.
I'm reluctant to even get into this,
something other than your homosexuality. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, bro, I wish I was, man, because you know how many like special privileges I would get, especially today's day and age, where like
true. That is true. That is definitely true.
You know what? But it could be. Maybe I could just identify as gay, not actually be homosexual, but just identify as homosexual for like the benefits.
I think most people have caught up to that, and that's what they are doing. I mean, I don't dispute there are gay people. I don't have a problem with gay people, but I think some people are taking advantage now and going, "Oh, because of that, I'm gonna identify as that so I can get this." I mean, I'm like, I think I might try something else later.
Yeah. I forgot which politician it is, but she found out she's like 1/64th or 1/64,000th of being Cherokee or something like that, and then she looks like white as fuck. But you better believe as soon as she found that out on her ancestry DNA,
she's using it. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It is just like,
oh yeah,
we could draw a line, But
it's like if I find out tomorrow that I'm 1/50 something Asian, you think I'm not gonna use it? I use that shit. Yeah.
That's actually probably where all those great bodybuilding results came from. You know what I mean? It would all make sense.
And me being smart too. I'm smart.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I guess you identify as smart. So anyway, so, no, but I gotta ask you though, Chidozie, man, one of the things that we do regularly talk about is like the constant accusation of
Right.
being on PEDs and how you actually like to banter with the people that accuse you of being on such. Like, what's your take on all of the accusations and the interactions with that said topic? I guess.
Well, honestly, I'll tell you that at first, when it first started, this was like maybe a couple years ago. It was very few here and there people would accuse me, and I would get mad because mentally I had not matured to that point where I can see this as a compliment. So I would get pissed, and I would see the rage in them, and then they see that as a weak point, and they keep attacking it. So, but fast forward 2 years later, whenever I hear that, all I hear is compliments. All I hear is, "Oh, there is no way you can achieve this naturally." So I'm like, "Holy shit!" And I did. That's fucking a, So
Mm.
I replied to these guys mostly for the algorithm. The algorithm wants you to engage your audience. It doesn't matter
Mm.
how you have to engage your audience, but I, once in a while I'll fire back and they go wow 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 wow. They're like, oh, he responds to everything. I'm like, you are on my page. You are on my page. I'm gonna respond to the shit you saying on my page. And then when I ignore them, they go, oh, it's funny how you don't respond to people who talk about drugs. You are in denial. I'm like, these people they are so insecure that it's very funny. So it's mostly for the engagement and it's mostly for the algorithm, and it's really
Mm.
grown my social media platform today. We just hit 70K.
Well, congrats on that. Congrats on
No shit.
70K, and
Ah, I guess.
especially as like a natty natural, as a natty natural, of course, natty natural. But
Right.
as a natty bodybuilder, it says a lot because I don't feel like our sports very popular. But when you got athletes such as yourself who have an exceptional result, an exceptional set of genetic responses per se, yeah, it's interesting on how that spurns animus, how that spurns people to be joyous. Like it's like a mixed amount of reactions, but
It
the way
is.
that
It is.
the way that you've handled it is pretty phenomenal. I want to take this back to where you just said in the beginning you kind of took it as all this negativity and you kind of were growing up. Is there any instance that made you kind of realize, hey, this is actually a positive thing? Is there anything that kind of sticks out to you where that kind of
Yes.
pivoted for you?
Yes. So I would I I would hear people say, they are on gear, and I did not understand what it was for a very long time. And I would see these people in the gym, right? Training their ass off, and I'm sorry, they don't look as great. They don't look like people on gear because, again, because of genetics. So
Mm.
I would see that, and it's the same people who would accuse me. Then I go, you on this stuff, and you are accusing me of being on it, and meanwhile I look better than you. So what are you doing wrong? So I took that
Mm.
as a, like, okay, maybe this is actually a good thing. This is actually a good thing, and I just took it. I took it on the chin. I was like, hey, I'm gonna embrace this, and I'm gonna make it my thing. And it's funny. Most of my posts, I try to sneak in something natural because it just pisses them off.
Yeah,
It does.
it does. It does.
So
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. So I grew up mentally in that aspect where I can see that guys who were doing it heavily are not getting results, and so they accuse me of it. I'm like, oh, this is actually great.
Mm. Is are all those comments just online, or do you face any backlash in person?
Not one. They would never say it to my face.
Yeah, I never thought. Yeah, that's right.
They would. They
That's
would.
right.
These are guys who would see me in the gym and wave at me and say, "Hey," but online they are anarchists. They are Al Pacinos and not. Well, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it's crazy. They would see me and they would pay their respect in person, but online, fucking warriors.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if there's anything that's like a depiction of how this generation responds to like not agreeing or just handling something that they don't like, that they'll make a comment and, oh wait, you can't, it's not like you come through a screen and punch me for saying what I just said or what I commented. So they'll do it. There's like no,
It's a very weak generation, Alan. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a very
yeah,
weak generation.
yeah,
It's a weak bunch of weak men. I wouldn't even say
mm,
men, boys. It's very juvenile. It's very juvenile, and it's like you can see it ranging from all the way from the 15-year-olds to the fucking 40-year-olds. I'm like, what? What can you not comprehend that the human body is capable of achieving goals, achieving heights that you don't train. You do not train. You go to the gym. You don't train. You don't diet. Alan, if okay, so sometimes I look back and I smile. I smile at myself. I I can't even compute how much I spend on meals weekly. I prep my meals every 3 days. It's ready to go. I don't miss a
mm,
meal. My trainings, like for the past couple of years, I have not missed a single training session. Not one. I have not missed
mm,
it. I have been very consistent with that. I have been my cardio, my rest, my recovery, everything. It's been very consistent. So you cannot tell me that I would not get great results. And they did not give 2% of that. I know because they cannot do it. They can't do it mentally. They just
mm,
can't. Because I know how much it
mm.
takes for me to do it. So I
Yeah,
know that being a very weak generation, there is no way you can do it. I guarantee you cannot do it. Let that be a motivation or a deterrent, but you cannot do. If that's gonna motivate you, great, do it. Show me that you can do it.
yeah, yeah. There's it's interesting in my opinion, because you always have a multitude of responses based on good results. And usually that comes down to two kinds of responses. You have the one where, like you're saying, something that they're doing isn't exactly correct. Maybe they're not getting the same response. They're lacking in some dynamic. And therefore, when they see someone exceptional, such as yourself, they'll just be like, oh, this guy had to have cheated. Fuck this guy. Blah, 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 blah. Right. But what I've seen is on the other end, you have people that do the work, that meal prep all the time. They put the volume in, or at least they've experienced something and they'll realize, like, oh, hey, yeah, this guy looks exceptional, but he's earned every bit of it. And here's the thing, even if you were on PEDs, the result that you have is still exceptional. And it still takes so much work to get to that point, because a lot of what you just alluded to, just because you're on PEDs doesn't get you that result. Like I've seen
No,
people at the gym, just like you
yeah,
said, that take PEDs, but they think that's just gonna patch all the lack there of diet, the lack there of working out, the lack there of prioritizing these things as a consistent basis. And then it's like, oh, this guy has to be cheating. But again, it's just interesting because it's a reflection of who you are. Because I see your results and I'm like, dude, this guy puts in volume. This guy has the exceptional genetics, and this is why it gets the results. But it's 90% hard work. The 10% is just everything else that kind of goes with it.
that is
So
I didn't know. If you go back and look at my posts and my progression over time, there was no point where I got massively big or it's a progression. So if you go back to my post from 2021, 22, now 23, you would see a very steady progression. It's not fast. It's actually slow to me, of course, but other people it's not. But it's a very steady progression, and it's you. I'm like, what? It's you know.
yeah, yeah. Hey man, but they say, jealousy is just love and hate all at the same time.
True
So
that, true that, true that. And
yeah,
the thing is,
yeah.
if the thing is, I that's why the clashbacks, the hate. I still get a lot of positive reinforcement from people. I get positive vibes. People are happy to see that you are a natural. They believe it with all their heart. They believe that this is achievable. They are happy. That gives them hope. So
Mm.
if I'm getting that, I don't care about these other guys who are sick of their lives. I don't really care about that. They are just bitter, they're insecure. If only they would pay attention to what I'm doing with a positive mindset. That way they can get things from the positive vibes from it. They can get tips from it. Because I give out tips. I'm like, do this, do this. If they would only put away their egos and pay attention to what I'm doing
Mm.
and not just listen so they can respond, actually listen to what I'm saying, they would benefit from it. Being on PED or not, they would benefit from it because my style of training, like I said, it's high intensity, and I got this from Dorian Yates. He is my number one, favorite bodybuilder to date, and he got that from Mike Mentor. Dorian Yates is he ushered in the mass monster era, and I want to be like that. I made a post back then. I said, I train like I'm enhanced so I can look enhanced. You have to train. You have
Mm.
to push the human body, and that's what I do. I get on the mindset like, hey, if this guy's on, because most of the reasons they go on drugs is so they can have the strength to push the weight. But I'm like, I have natural strength. Why not push more weight than my body is capable of? And that's when the changes started happening.
Mm.
You know? So if only
Mm.
they would pay attention to these little details and my style of training, again, it's been there for, there is nothing new under the sun. There is no original idea. Everything have been done over and over. All you got to do is take it, put a spin on it, and make it yours. So if you can take
Mm.
that and actually believe in it and give it time, because they want to work out a week and go, oh, it's not working. I'm gonna sit and eat fucking Cheetos and drink Coke now because that guy is a fucking natty. Mom, can I have some more ice cream? It's crazy.
Man, all right. So I agree with you where it's like if you stop focusing on the things that aren't going right and you start focusing on the things that are going well for you and you just cascade on the things that are working and consistently find wins, that you'll eventually get to a phenomenal result. You might not get the King Chidozie result, but what you might get is the King Chidozie version result for you.
Oh, for
And
you, for
and
you.
that's what matters, and that's what matters more than anything else, because it's like, for example, you and I are like 100 pounds difference almost on stage, and I
Yeah,
don't want to look like you at all. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like I think you should be going for the Alan K version of yourself, Chidozie. I think that'll is what's going to actually take you to that next level. But but it takes a lot of self-awareness, a lot of being present with yourself to realize, be like, yo, you know what, he's not me, but I can create a version of myself that mimics him, that mimics his results, that mimics his work ethic. And I think that's where I wish people would go to. But I think the process of getting your ego challenged, I think the process of having reality hit you and make you realize that it's not about anything other than your internal motor. I think that's part of the process, though. I think a lot of young men have to go through getting their ego hit. They have to go through being challenged with shit that they think they know and they have no idea. I
sure.
mean, a lot of where I'm at today is having the same ignorances, having the ego as an 18-year-old kid, thinking I have it all made, I know what the world's like, and then constantly getting like bam, getting hit. Yeah, yep, nope, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And then it's like you have this opportunity to be like, all right, do I act on this and create something better, or do I just stay with my ego and tell them that they're wrong? Like, oh, like this didn't work out. Well, fuck, it has to be something else. Like, hey,
True.
this diet didn't work out. Like, oh, it has to be because this guy's on PEDs. That's why it works for him and it doesn't work for me. So it's interesting, you know.
Alan, to tomorrow. So, for you to be a pro at something, you have to be a student at all times. Do you know that till tomorrow, I still listen to advice from old heads, youngins. I listen to everybody. Every time I'm in the gym, like I go to different gyms, I might be doing something wrong. An older gentleman comes up to me and he goes, "Can I show you something?" I said, "Sure, why not?" And that is how I learned. There's this guy. That's how I met this Olympian trainer. What's his name? Is it Mark or something? He saw me deadlifting, and he said, "What are you doing? You're not doing it right." Normally, if I was an egotistical person, I would go, "Fuck you! I've been doing this for way too long. I'm a pro." Da, da, da. I'm like, he said, "Can I?" I said, "Please show me." And he
Mm.
taught me the proper technique to deadlift to get the most out of it. And when I tell you, the second I did it, crazy. I was in the
So
gym. What?
here's
I was in the gym the
no,
other day as well. This guy, he showed me another way of doing a leg extension to get it all the way to your top quads, and it felt great because I don't let my ego get it. I want to learn. I want to learn.
nice, nice. Let's take it back here real quick. Like when you're getting all of these comments, when you're getting all of the hate, the animus, in spite of all this, like what's some of the like the worst comments that you've ever gotten?
Um, At this point, I don't know. It's a lot of them. The hate is real. That's what I'm gonna say. The hate is real.
Jeez.
I get comments like, let me see. I don't register them in my head, so that's how I stay above. But let me
Okay.
see something like well, one of the ones that I get is, oh, somebody said on the video that I posted about my grandfather, my father, myself, and they just go, L son.
They go, what? Say that again?
L son, like my grandfather was great, my father was great. Technically, I'm a loser for doing PEDs to gain the
Mm.
physique that they had. So while I don't register those, I can hear the pain in their voice. I can hear the
Mm.
pain behind it. So it's a lot of comments. It's very hateful, and I try not to read them or go through them, so I can't even really tell you. Say, man.
No, right. I'm actually glad you don't have a specific answer, because you're right. Like what you decide to pay attention to is where your energy is going to
Right,
go. And if
right.
you have all those negative comments, like let's say you just pulled up like, oh wait, well, hey Alan, wait, and you pulled up like 5 different comments. I'm like, all right, well maybe you got some shit to work on, but you're right.
Yeah,
Like the fact that you could just be like, I'm not going to put any energy into it, and
no.
therefore going to let it be. Um, Real quick, you just spoke about the pic. I know what post you're talking about because I remember like the post where you posted your grandfather and your father, and I was like, this guy's got some fucking genetics. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit, he's got some genetics. What's your what's your take on people having more exceptional genetics? Like, I know you speak about it regularly, but can you kind of go into what your thought process is with regards to what you define as exceptional genetics?
Um. Well, when it comes to bodybuilding, of course, exceptional genetics would be that again, and it's transferable because it's about genomes. It's transferable. So if my grandfather was into lifting, train hard, the genes that come after him are gonna be the same if they stick to that route. They might have it in them, but if they don't train, if they don't work for it, if they don't go for it, they are not gonna look any better. They might look okay, mediocre, but so um, I'm a big believer in genes. I'm a big believer in working for it, in the fact that the way I train today it's gonna reflect in my kids in the future,
Mm.
and that's what I have here. So the way you train Again, it might not be your fault that you don't have the best genetics. It's nobody's fault. It's not your making. Genetics is not your making. You are handed. You were given. So you don't get to pick and choose. So what do? You create the best version of yourself so you can hand off to your offsprings if that is something you're looking to do in the future. So, but whining online and being a little bitch is not going to. It's also going to transfer to your kids. You know what I'm saying? It's going to transfer to your kids
Oh
down
my
the
god.
line. So, why not lift some weight, get active, and stop bitching? Honestly,
Yeah. No. Sorry. Well, it's funny when you're talking. I'm thinking. I'm not entirely sure about this, but just kind of what you said, where the more you lift, that genetics and that behavior intrinsically goes into your offspring, and they kind of harvest whatever those antics are. And so I've always wondered, like, if I start lifting now, like, for example, I had my first kids when I was like 19, and I was definitely not working out in this same capacity that I am now. So
right?
I've always wondered where, like, now that I'm into bodybuilding, now that I push myself to a limit on weights, how that would affect my offspring if I were to reproduce now, opposed.
How was your dad? How your father was he? How was he genetically?
Well, honestly, I don't know. So I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually adopted. So I don't know, like,
I did not
genetically
know.
my.
I did not know
Oh,
that.
well, now we know. Now we know. Like, so,
Now
like,
we know.
like, you have performance enhancing drugs. I just have performance enhancing families. You know what I mean? I just get put into a better family. Anyways,
Yes,
yes,
but
bad
Alan, you
punching.
do know you do know you have you. I think you live like a bitch. I think you have great genetics.
You know what? I'm
You
starting to
do.
believe that.
You
Yeah, I'm
do
starting to
because
believe that now.
you have very tiny joints, and that's the thing. So people with tiny joints. No, I do have tiny joints, and I don't know why you're laughing. I
No,
do have tiny
no,
joints.
because you're just like, go ahead. Sorry, because, like,
Yeah,
no,
you
Alan,
do.
you have great genetics. Because you're tiny. Because you know what I mean. Because, like, so first of
Hey,
all,
hey,
as
hey,
bodybuilders,
don't.
hold up. As bodybuilders, when you start speaking about genetics and we think about exceptional genetics, very rarely is that led with something being tiny and being
No,
exceptionally good at
no,
that point. I'm just
but
saying.
that is the exceptional part in it. That
Hmm.
tiny part, that is what makes it exceptional because I'm able to put on mass and still look the way I look. I don't lose my waist. I have a very tiny waist, and that's genetics. That is genetics.
Hmm.
My wrist is small, my knees are small, which makes everything look bigger.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that the proportions, it makes it
Yes, yes.
more
So it
proportional.
makes me
I see what you're saying.
appear more bigger than I actually am.
Right.
It's an illusion. So what people can't get around, they cannot wrap their head around that. Like I walk around, people think I'm like 230, 240. No, I'm 210.
Yeah. You definitely look like you're 230, 240. But I think that's like the benefit of having muscle and being lean is, like, you look like you're 10 to 15, 20, 30, even 40 pounds heavier just based off the fact that you're lean and, yeah, you have muscular development. And it's just interesting on I know for me, like, for example, when I got into bodybuilding and I wanted to get on stage, I kept telling myself I wanted to be 150 pounds because I told myself there's an aesthetic that went with that. But every single time I've stepped up on stage, I've done it 3 times now. I've stepped on like 135, 133, and like 130. And the thing is, I've looked bigger every single time, and it just kind of it just doesn't make sense sometimes because of how much we've
That
attributed a look to a.
look at Flex Wheeler. Look at Flex. Great fucking. Why is he the Sultan of Symmetry? He has very tiny joints. All those guys, most of those guys have tiny joints, and that's the look from the golden era where bodybuilders nowadays don't even have it. They really do not have it because because of the heavy gear used and blowing out of proportion.
Mhm.
First of all, you don't even have the tiny waist genetics to begin with, and then you blast. I don't know how that works, but that just blows everything out of proportion. So That's why people are like, oh, bodybuilding is dead. It's not as great as it used to be. It's about those proportions. It's symmetrical to the eyes. That's what people want to see. But I guess nowadays people just want to see mass monsters, which is fine too. So
Right. Well, speaking of which, man, I'm curious if well, first of all, have you ever considered like using PEDs or anything like that?
well, last year or last couple of years, it was floating around the air, and I didn't fully say I was gonna do it, but I was like, it might be a great idea to take my physique to the
Mm,
next level because ultimately I'm like, I could be the next Mr. Olympia. But first of all, blasting for you to be on the Olympic stage, you gotta be blasting for like 10 years steady to even be there.
jeez.
So that's a lot of years and time put in, and that's why I'm like, even guys who are it's a lot of work. You can't just sit at home and accuse people. Still, that is a lot of work. That is a
Yeah.
little time, money, attention. It's so much, and I don't have the time and strength for that at this point in my life. I could not do it. But yes, I've thought about it in the past, and I'm like, it's fine. I keep doing what I'm doing because it seems to be
Man.
working for me. So
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that people fail to realize that when they're watching the Olympia, every single one of those athletes have been on some kind of PED for an extended period of time on top
yes,
of having
yes.
exceptional genetics. Like it's a mixture of two things going down at once. So,
Oh, I remember this comment as I was gonna tell you. I was okay, I've been
mhm.
getting this comment lately. People go, "Oh, are you trying to tell me C-Bomb, Ramon, these other top guys, that you have better genetics than them because they did not look like you when they were natural." Even they even mentioned Nick Walker. I said, "What? Why are you comparing me to these guys?" They said, "Oh, they did
Mhm.
not look as big as you when they were natural." I'm like, "Yes, because we don't have the same fucking genetics." We do not. So first of all, the environment we grew in is different. The way I was raised is different. The food I ate was different. Everything was different. There should be no comparison between athletes when it comes to genetics. So people go,
No.
"Oh, so oh, you're telling me you look better, you're better than them." I'm like, what is that? It just doesn't even
Like
make sense. It doesn't make sense.
just be like, yeah, I am better than them. It's what I've been trying to say, god damn it. You're just
So and now people even I don't even say anything like as such, but people just turn me to be an egomaniac, I'm narcissistic. I'm like, what? I'm not even saying anything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you
Yeah.
think I'm better than you? Of course I'm better than you. I am better than you, but I'm not saying it.
Yeah,
You are
better
saying
than
it.
you.
No, you
Yeah, I
are
mean
saying it.
what is it? You would never hate on someone who's doing worse than you. Like, it's like it's theoretically fucked up to be punching down in any dynamic of a social standard. So if they're gonna hate, it's always hating upward, never hating downward.
And that's
Like
something that I love that I take console in that, they only criticize the best.
yeah, yeah. Now, I gotta ask you though, like I'm curious, what do you think you would be like if you took PEDs?
I get that question a lot. My answer is always, I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna react to it. You know what I'm saying? That's a very fine line. You go because people now go, oh, if you're truly natural, you should blast and get on the Olympia and you will win 10 titles. Motherfucker, it does not work like that.
Yeah.
It does not work like
Right.
that. Because okay, I'm very prone to acne. That's on my
Mm,
face. So I
mm,
was like, imagine if I took gear and it just fucked up this remaining fucked up face. What I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like my skin, you would not find acne in it. It's flawless. But I have a genetic proneness to acne. So I'm like, I don't that's one big fear because I don't want to have those bad skin that I do see on athletes where their back is fucked up. I want to be able to. I want to
yeah.
be able to walk around with my shirt off and be jacked without feeling insecure about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
that's another. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no, but truly, I believe that if I put in the same work ethic that I have right now with a little bit of enhancement, I believe that I could be the next Ronnie Coleman. And I'm not just saying that. I believe I could be one of the biggest names in bodybuilding if I choose to do that. With the progress that I have seen and my style of training, diet, and life and consistency, I believe that
Hmm.
I can be one of the best to ever do it if I decided to go that route.
I guess that begs the question: what would it take for you to actually take that route? And I'm not saying I'm not promoting you to it or pushing you to it, but I mean, I can imagine there's been some scenarios in your head where there's like, well, if they offered something, then that might be a route that you'd consider. Like, have you thought about what those, I guess, things are for you that would take for you to get to that level of your training?
But I have not found anything yet. I There is nothing yet to push me to that because, uh, well, some people again that's why bodybuilding is kind of sort of a vanity sport. People want to be admired. They want to be, they want to be liked. They want to look at a physique and say, "Shit, this guy looks great." I'm sorry, I already get that without being on PEDs, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't need that. I do not need that. So is it the money? It's not what my life. It's not what my life. I want to watch my kids grow up. I want to be there for my kids in my old age. So there's nothing you can offer me right now at this point. It might change later, but at this point in my life, there's nothing you can offer me to make me hop on gear. Absolutely no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's also a lot of intrigue in your brand for being the guy that people think are on PEDs but aren't on PEDs. Like, I'm obviously a big promoter of natural bodybuilding in the community, and we definitely need people such as yourself to prove that you don't have to be on some type of exceptional external something to create a result. Like, you're definitely the embodiment of it. I want to take this back to what you talked on earlier, where you're saying, people weren't raised in the same dynamic. People didn't eat the same things, because you and I kind of talked about what it was like for you in your upbringing and how you were raised and how that was different than other people. Can you kind of go into what that means for you being
Of
raised in
course,
somewhere else? Or yeah, can you talk about
of
that?
course, of course. Yeah, yeah. It quick breakdown. Again, born and raised in Nigeria, and my dad passed when I was 6. My mom passed when I was 12. So I grew up with my grandfather, who was a military man and who was a professional wrestler back in the day. So he already had that discipline, and that he was military as well. So it was like I was growing up in a military base. So everything had to be structured. Everything was timed. And so you had to have the work ethic. My uncles and aunts are all Olympic gold medalists. I come from a long line of disciplined athletes. So
Oh,
it was not hard for me to transition into that mindset because that's what I grew up around. That's what I saw. Nobody forced me to do. I was not pressured into doing what I'm doing today. It's what I
uh-huh.
loved. My father was a bodybuilder back in the day when PEDs were not around. There was limited food, but he was still jacked. They called him Big Mike. He was big. He was big. He was huge. So okay, quick rundown. Most of the time, I would go to the farm at about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. A farm, a farm. It's where we cultivate yams, cassavas, legumes and stuff. And I would work on the farm for like a couple hours, come back, go to school. And there was no mode of transportation. You had to walk there, bring some firewood back on your head, and come back home and get ready to go to school. After school, come back, do your assignments, and back to the farm. So it was a lot of farm work. It was a lot of hard work. It was manual labor. So that would have an effect on a young kid's genes. It would alter something because at that very young age, you are being molded for something that is going to be great. So, of course. So these guys didn't have the same background. They were from Chicago, Illinois. They were from Colorado. They had TV. They had even though it might not be a great life, but you had a certain level of comfort that I did not have. So I could not afford to be as comfortable as you. I had to work for every single thing that I own today. And you could tell from a person's physique the level of dedication. Most of the time, you can tell. So that was pretty much it. That was pretty much it. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I grew up the tough way. It was pretty tough. So their little banter cannot get to me because I've been through worse shit. I've been through shit in life. So
Mm.
yeah,
When did and what age were you when you came from Nigeria to here?
I was 20.
20. Oh, so
Yeah,
you were already an adult.
yeah,
You've already
yeah.
experienced.
I was a grown ass
Wow.
man. I was a grown ass man. So yeah, I came over here when I was 20, and to transition from that life to this
Right.
life over here, it was not tough because while I was back home, I was already reading up on what it was to be an American. I
Mm-hmm.
was already watching movies, and I was just soaking in everything. I was just soaking
Yeah.
in everything. So when I came over, even when I tell people I'm Nigerian, they're like, no fucking way. Yeah, I'm Nigerian. Yeah.
What else would you? I mean, no offense. What else would you be?
No, they mostly think I'm African American from Louisiana or from.
Uh,
I mean, ain't no wrong with being from Louisiana, but I'm just saying they think most times I get a lot. They think I'm from Louisiana, and I'm like, no, I'm Nigerian. I'm like, oh, you from
yeah.
Chicago? No, I'm Nigerian. Because again, from the way I talk as well, I don't talk like a typical, I don't have the strong accent. So like, do you want me to say, how are you doing? What they happen? I'm like, jeez, dude. I'm like, jeez, dude, chill.
Oh my God, that's oh my. So we're talking about one of my favorite impressions to do sometimes is to make fun of I hate to say it, but like the white person accent because they want you to be so Americanized. You know, so like,
Mm-hmm.
hello there, hi there, Michael. Do you like PEDs? You look great with muscles right there. You know what I mean? You jolly swell. And it's like unless you talk like that, it seems like you're just looked down
Right,
upon sometimes. But
right, right,
now,
right.
no,
So I
well,
had
real
to,
quick
I had
too.
to, I had to start learning the Texan accent. Howdy,
The te-
cowboy. I've been riding
Howdy.
around my, I've been riding around my horses and shit and showing around everything. Yeehaw!
You about some of that. Yeah, how many more squats you got on that squat rack right there? You
that's
about to go
a
all the way down? Yeah.
that's a big nigga right there.
Well, I think I have to cut that part out. I don't think I can leave that one on there. Oh my God. Well, this podcast got canceled that quickly. I was wondering, bro. I was literally brainstorming this last night. I'm like, at one point, are we gonna say some shit that's really gonna get this episode off here? At what marker is it gonna be like, oh
um,
fuck, we got this
I know.
episode.
I was like back in the day. I was like, that's a big nigga right there. He's a big
They right.
man. I paid 30 cents for that nigga right there.
um, oh my God, bro. Re- What's interesting, all right, so real quick, I want to take this back to where you talked about you coming over here to the States and obviously acquiring this Texan ass accent. But what I was wondering
Hey, you better cut the
is,
shitty accent up. Talk like a Californian that you
all
are.
right, Rob, Californian. All right, well, let me talk about my feelings. So I feel as
I
if,
like, oh my god.
oh my God. So when you came over here to the States, yeah, and then I don't know where this hand gesture came out. Like, yeah, I guess Californians talk like this. How are you doing over there, Michael? Blah, right? uh, what fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. When you moved over here, and you said you're studying what American culture was like, what the day-to-day was like, A, what was your impression of what American culture was like? And B, when you came over here, was it congruent with what you thought it was going to be?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Coming over, I thought everybody was nice because that's what you see in the movies, and and yeah, that's some fucking assholes over here. You know, that's some fucking assholes, man. They just hate you for just being black. That's just it. Then because of your skin color, just that's it. You know, that's it. But then I also came to realize that people over here they are also fucking nice as well. They don't care where you're from, who you are. They're just nice as people. You know. But again, one thing that I definitely love about the American culture is that the amount of work you put in equals the amount of results you get out.
Mm.
That's how most the system is structured. You are gonna get what you put in, and that's just life. That is life. That's life in general. So yeah, it was it that helped me transition into the society properly. In the fact that I had to go to school. I'm like, okay, you have to go to school if you want to get a certain job. You want to do this to get this. So I'm like, okay, there is a structure. There is a structure, and for you to attain a certain goal, you have to follow that structure. That's what people don't understand. They feel like they can skip those structures and just make it. No, you have to go through rounds and bouts of series of. You have to go through the process. There is a process. That's why I love America. You have to go through the process. There is a process for everything.
Yeah. It's always interesting when you get people that come here from a different background and view this entire system, country, culture as an opportunity, kind of what you presented to. But the popular thing with if you're from here is to complain about how bad you have it, how the system is rigged,
Yeah.
how you have no opportunity no matter what. And it's for me, I didn't learn that until I started going on deployments and seeing the world. And then all of a sudden coming back, realizing like, we have it fucking good as hell. Like,
Yes.
yeah, are certain systems kind of racist? Yes. Are
Yep.
certain mindsets kind of discriminatory? Yes. But the opportunity to succeed in lieu of that is so phenomenal that, yeah, like you might look, this might be a detriment. This part of the system might be really fucked up, but you're looking at 5% of the entire picture.
That's
And
it.
although you're just in seeing that part, it's like you're discrediting everything else that's going on. Like, for example, like let's say you have like for me, when I have a pimple on my face, I think everything, oh my God, everything is paying attention to this pimple. I got to pop this. Like, oh my God, but I have my entire rest of my body that's fine. I have my entire face that's fine. But because I'm so focused on this one small pimple, I think my entire body and what all people see is a pimple. And I feel like that's how a lot of people view today's world and today's approach is like,
Yes.
yeah, there are some shitty things that exist, but if you stop looking for those shitty things and you start looking for their opportunities, and you'll see that there's actually a phenomenal amount of opportunity than there is compared to a detriment or any kind of a downfall that could hold you back. So I love
The,
the
the,
fact that
the, the
you
only
are
way I
promoting
greet
that.
people, when people ask me, hey, how are you? I said, can't complain. That's always my line. I always say, can't complain.
Mm.
Why complaining? What is that going to do for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I also like when people ask me how I'm doing, I always like to say better than you. So no.
That's just a racist in you speaking.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not.
the racist. Oh my God. You know what? All right. So what are the, I now you bring it up. I got to let my audience know where that comment comes from. So me and Chidozie's my boy, right? Banter all aside, this is my brother from another. And one of the funniest things that we do is we call each other racist. And it has nothing to do with race whatsoever.
No.
And but it's a reflection of how people like cancel things. You know what I mean? Like, oh wait, you don't like cupcakes? racist. Oh, you like sugar in your coffee? Racist. And it's funny because people don't even reflect on what they're calling racist. They just see they're being called racist and they just want to stop. They want to then make a post about how, you know, they can't be racist because their TV is colored. And so there's like some stupid shit where they just like try to not be right.
I know. And it goes back to the generation where I tell you, it's a very weak generation. You know what I'm saying? It's very weak. It's very weak. It's everybody wants to feel mad. They want to be sensitive to stuff, right? Right. I'm sorry. I mean, I know I'm young, but I believe that I still miss the good old days. I feel like I do, where you had to be tough, but give a shit. I can say whatever I want to say. You know, it's my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting because I agree with you. I think that there is a weaker generation of men. But here's another thing that I've realized. My dad, my adopted dad, you know, the dad that raised me, he said the same thing about my generation and how we grew up, right? And I'm certain that his dad told him the same thing about him. And so it's interesting on how, yes, I will agree that we're not as masculine as the generations prior, but if you look at how they worked, how they grinded to a 9 to 5, they went to school uphill both ways in the snow, barefoot, all that kind of, you know, that rhetoric. It's just, I feel like it's a constant evolution of, this generation getting weaker, this generation getting presented with less opportunities to develop their masculinity. And I think that's what's happening right now. And
True.
You're right. I think it's getting weaker, but I mean, I don't know. How do you think? How do you feel like, is this something that we should remedy? Is this something that's a really big problem? Is this something that's constant? Like, I wonder what your view is on
that. So one thing I'm going to say right off the bat, it's going to keep getting weaker. It's not changing. It's going to keep getting weaker.
Yeah.
And the reason is because the society is so used to making laws about stuff. You know, you remember the Wild West when there was no law. There was really no law. You know, there's a bunch of outlaws and shit. But nowadays, it's like you have to listen to people whine and cry and then make a law to protect them. And when that becomes the case, then everybody wants to be protected. And once you are being protected and shielded, you cannot know the truth. You cannot know what it really means to be something because you are shielded at all times. Did I'm sorry. I think I just saw. Was it in what was it? Is it in California where there's a law now that you have to call your child a gender or something? I'm like, these are kids.
You have to do what?
Something you have to be gender specific with your kids or something. If not, it's a crime or something. Again, I don't really pay attention to those, but it's like everybody's being shielded. So once we're being shielded, we cannot get the real grime of the matter, and then we are gonna pass that down to our kids, and our kids are gonna pass it down.
Oh, sorry, I looked this up right now. I just looked this up. Oh, hold up. All right. What it's called is the California Assembly Judiciary Committee advanced a bill this past Tuesday aimed at protecting the LGBTQ plus youth that encourages parents to affirm their children's identity or gender identity. The initial legislation said courts deciding custody cases must consider whether each parent affirmed the child's gender. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
It encourages parents who support their children by making it clear that affirming a child's gender identity is part of the health, safety, and welfare of the child. Interesting. So both the parents have to agree to what this child's gender is?
Even before
it would also classify parents in custody battles as abusive if they refuse to affirm the child's gender identity. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I saw that yesterday. I refused to read it, but it was outrageous. But again, like I said, you do whatever you want to do with that's you. I really don't care. It's so far it doesn't affect me. Hey, go for it. But that's why the generation is gonna keep, because we have so much freedom. It is so much. we are so free to
Yeah.
do anything. So no structure.
Yeah. We know what's interesting. So I heard do you watch the Joe Rogan podcast?
Every now and then, but not really.
Like, so he has an episode recently where he mentioned that if you look at like human history and look at the great civilizations that like collapse, like Rome or anything like that, that the last part of collapse is arguing and creating chaos over gender, over sex, over something like that. Because so humans, and this is all speculative and based on what I interpret it as, humans were all drawn to chaos. We're all drawn to like fight each other, command, conquer. And after a while, you can only command and conquer to the point where now we're effectively docile compared to what of our previous generations of command and conquer are. And because of the fact that we have nobody to really combat, we have no wars that we're in, we're not fighting another enemy.
Yeah.
We naturally then have to fight ourselves because we have
do.
no one else to fight.
We
do. And because there's no real issues, in my opinion, and that are so paramount, that the only thing that we fight on is gender. And it's interesting because people don't realize that being able to claim a different sex, like for a man to claim being a woman and not have to hold on to his responsibility in a masculine manner, is a privilege. You know, like you don't see people in Afghanistan, like those men trying to fight others to say that they're women. Like they're not allotted that right, that privilege that we are so fighting over. And I'm only mentioning that because it's just a perspective of, we have it so good here. Like, yeah, you might not exactly agree with how things are going with that, with gender or with race or anything like that. But to even get to that point of arguing those said entities, you have to have everything else working right for you, and and so I'm glad that when you came on, you kind of like, well, you guys weren't raised the same way. I had to do labor when I grew up. And I wish people would understand that just a little bit more.
Well, they will not, because they just choose not to, and they are never going to try to, because everybody wants you to see stuff from their perspective and not from yours. So it is what it is, man. Honestly, my takeaway from all this is just be the best you can be. That's it. Just be the best you can be. You can't alter how people think, how people react. You can only watch and control how you react to stuff, how you answer the stuff. Pretty much.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Well, hey, King Chidozie, I appreciate any Instagram handles, anything you want to shout out real quick before we get off the air, and anything.
Hey, I mean, yeah, hey, follow me, man. I'm trying to keep it 100% natural and inspire the newer generation, the younger generation, the weaker generation. I'm sorry to use that word. That you can achieve so much if you just put your mind to it. If you actually want it, you have to go for it. So, and that's all I'm doing on my Instagram at Chidozie. Just give me a follow. That's all I'm doing. All I'm doing is, hey, this is what you can achieve, your version of it, naturally. Even if you want gear, you can achieve so much more without depending on it. That's all I'm saying. So hey, give me a follow. I mean, I got great. Oh, I just had a new post. It's crazy. Did you see it?
Which one is that one?
Go check it out later.
Just go to it.
Go check it out later. Go check it out later.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
No, that definitely. And then for those of you guys who don't know or don't follow my boy over here, his page is fucking hilarious. It's hilarious. You'll get things where you get like booty pictures or these girls booty, and all of a sudden you just get him like, hey, you should be going to the gym, or then you'll get the hater commentator. Man. They're all funny. They're all inspirational. What I find hilarious is like the ones that you post with the booties, then all of a sudden, like you can always tell where I stop watching is because all of a sudden you get on the show like, shit, damn it, I got Chidozie. I got dozied.
I had to put a pause to that because people were getting more carried away by the booty than my message.
Then your booty, right? The girl.
I was like, okay. I'm just gonna come on straight and say, go to the fucking gym. Look at my face. Go to the gym.
Go to the gym. Yeah, fucking gym. All right. Well, hey man, I need you to stay on for just a little bit longer after this. But all right, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining our conversation, and I thank you if you stayed up to this point. There's also might be something wrong with you if you decided to listen to everything, all this racist ass shit.
I'm gonna take in every single thing.
Yeah.
Like that's a long conversation. That's a whole hour.
Oh my God, I know. Well, I'm probably gonna have you on again. Like we'll just talk about other shit. We'll just talk about how I don't know. We'll create something. I already
no.
know.
There's always a lot to talk about. You know, it's a lot.
Yeah. Look at you know what this will do. If I ever get a comment about if I'm natty or not, then I'll just send it to you. That we could create an episode like my first natty or not comment. Like yes,
I know a buddy of mine got that he somebody commented this guy's not natty, and guess what? The guy he just tagged me. Can I join the team now? I'm like, yeah, welcome to the club.
Welcome. I come back. Yeah, damn it. See, now I like how this podcast turned in from, just seeing what I can learn about you to all of a sudden getting new inspiration for myself where I need to get a natty or not comment. Yes. You do. Real goals. I might, you know what? I might start instigating it. Like just post it on, make like a ghost account.
I'm like, that guy's not natty.
I'll just create like a troll account. That's exactly
I'm just gonna. That's Alan, guys. Don't say anything. Don't reply.
He's natty. He's natty as hell. That's Natty Allen.
Yeah, his father calls him Natty Allen.
Oh my God! Yeah, that troll account that keeps asking him if he's natty or not. That's actually him. He's creating his own controversy.
Like they leave the natty and go. This guy's pathetic. Jesus.
Yeah, this guy's pathetic.
No, it's no longer a natty. Now they start attacking you for something else.
It's like a pathetic or not, like a not natty or not. What is it? A not fake natty or a not natty or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Those knots. Oh my God.
Hey man, so that's a video I always see about this guy. He's been working out for like 3-4 years now, and he looks the same. And I think he keeps getting fatter. I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like. And people go on his page. People are very mean. They go, "Oh, bro is taking estrogen shots." Yeah. Say bro has reverse body dysmorphia. People are mean. And this is this is body dysmorphia.
Oh my God.
This is somebody who just wants to get better. That's it. People are mean.
Fucked up. Yeah, like you said, people are fucking mean here. They're so fucking critical of everything. Like you'll get shamed for being on PEDs. You'll be shamed for not being on PEDs. You'll be shamed for having a result. You'll be shamed for not having a result.
No. It's crazy.
Anyways. All right, bro. Well, yeah, like I said, stay on for just a little bit. But for everybody else, thank you for staying and listening to this banter up until this point. Any last words there, bro? Any last words?
All right. Stay natty.
Stay natty. All right, guys. See you around. Oh, man. How'd it go, man? How'd you feel?
Pretty good. I mean, again, it's like we have regular conversations, so it's very